After the flood, the earth was empty. The waters had receded. The ark had come to rest, and from 8 survivors, the human race began again. God had given them one instruction: fill the earth, spread out, multiply, inhabit every corner of the world. They had one language, one voice, one people, and they chose to do the opposite. Genesis 11 begins with these words: "Now the whole earth had one language and the same words." One language. Think about what that means. No barriers, no miscommunication, no cultural divide. Every human being on earth speaking the same tongue, thinking the same thoughts, working toward the same goals. It should have been beautiful, but then comes the decision that changed everything. Genesis 11:4 records their plan in their own words. "Come, let us build ourselves a city and a tower with its top in the heavens, and let us make a name for ourselves, lest we be dispersed over the face of the whole earth." 3 motivations, all of them wrong. First, build a tower to the heavens. Second, make a name for themselves. Third, refuse to be scattered. They weren't building for God. They were building against Him. This was no primitive project. The people of Babel were sophisticated, organized, technologically advanced for their time. They had invented fired brick, stronger than stone. They used bitumen as mortar, more durable than anything before it. And they had something more powerful than any material: unity, a single language, a single purpose, a single will. Genesis 11:6 records God's own assessment. "And the Lord said, Behold, they are one people, and they have all one language, and this is only the beginning of what they will do. And nothing that they propose to do will be impossible for them." That is not a warning about the tower. That is a warning about what comes next. What was the real sin of Babel? It wasn't architecture. It wasn't ambition. It was the heart behind it. Let us make a name for ourselves. That one phrase tells you everything. From the beginning, from the garden, the deepest human temptation has never been pleasure. It has been independence. The desire to be the author of your own story, to need no one above you, to build something so high that God Himself would have to look up. Babel was not just a tower. Babel was a declaration. We don't need you. We don't want to be scattered by you. We will reach your level on our own terms. And then, God came down. Genesis 11:5 says, "And the Lord came down to see the city and the tower, which the children of man had built." The Lord came down to see it. There is something almost poetic in that. They were building up to reach God, and God had to come down just to see what they were doing. The tower they thought touched heaven didn't even register from where God stood. And God's response was not destruction. No fire fell. No flood came. No earthquake shook the tower down. God did something far more precise. He confused their language. Genesis 11:7-8. "Come, let us go down, and there confuse their language, so that they may not understand one another's speech." So the Lord dispersed them from there over the face of all the earth, and they left off building the city. One moment, unity. The next, chaos. Workers turning to each other mid-sentence and hearing only noise. Foremen giving orders that no one could follow. Families suddenly speaking differently than their neighbors. The most powerful force on earth, human unity, gone in an instant. And just like that, they scattered. Not by force, not by war, not by plague, by language. The very thing God had told them to do, fill the earth, they now did. Not in obedience, in confusion. The tower was never finished. The city was never completed. The great name they wanted to make for themselves became instead the name of their humiliation. Babel. The word means confusion. From that plain in Shinar, every nation on earth descended. Every language you've ever heard, every culture you've ever encountered, every tribe, every tongue, every people, all of it traces back to one unfinished tower on a flat plain in ancient Mesopotamia. The diversity of humanity, its greatest beauty, was born from its greatest act of pride. Historians and archaeologists have long debated what the Tower of Babel actually was. Many scholars point to the ziggurats of ancient Mesopotamia, massive stepped temple towers built by the Sumerians and Babylonians. The most famous, the Etemenanki in Babylon, stood over 90 meters tall. Its name in Sumerian meant, House of the Foundation of Heaven and Earth. A tower built to connect Earth to heaven. Sound familiar? Here is what Babel teaches us. Unity is powerful, more powerful than any weapon, more powerful than any army, more powerful than any technology. But unity without God, unity pointed inward, toward pride, toward self-sufficiency, does not build. It destroys. The people of Babel had everything they needed to change the world. One language, one people, one purpose, and they aimed it at the wrong target. They wanted to reach heaven on their own terms. And God, in His mercy, stopped them. Not to punish them, but because the road they were building led nowhere. The tower was never finished, but the story was. And it ended the same way every story ends when humanity decides it doesn't need God. Not with a bang, not with fire, just with silence, and the slow sound of footsteps walking away in every direction. Babel, the day humanity tried to reach heaven, and the day God reminded them. Heaven was never something you build your way into. If this story moved you, drop a comment below. Tell us who you want to see next. Subscribe and hit the bell. More biblical legends are coming every week.